Now let's move on to the next topic, that is pseudo-chemical reaction. Okay, pseudo means false. Suppose there is a reaction which is taking place like A plus B gives product. Now, if I want to write the rate law for this reaction, the rate law can be like this. If it is not given to us, then we'll write the rate law like this only. So from the rate law, it is clear that the reaction is first order with respect to A and first order with respect to B. Now, suppose one of the reactant is present in excess quantity. Okay, now there are two reactants A and B, and suppose out of A and B your B is present in excess quantity. Now excess quantity means that reactant is a solvent. There are many reactions which have water as one of the reactant or any other solvent. So if one of the reactant is present in excess quantity, that is solvent, then its concentration will remain practically constant during the reaction. Okay, because concentration of solvent is constant. Solvent means what? It is either pure liquid only. So if one of the reactant is a solvent, then its concentration will not change during the course of reaction. Its concentration will remain constant throughout the reaction. And under such condition, what we can write? We can write the rate law like this. B is in excess quantity. Okay. Now from this rate law, what is the order which is appearing to us? It appears that the reaction is of second order, 1 plus 1. But if B is present in excess, what is the order, actual order? Now the reaction or the actual order of the reaction is 1. So such reactions which appear to be of higher order but actually follow lower order kinetics, they are known as pseudo-chemical reactions. Now this reaction appears to be of second order but actually it follows first order kinetics. So this reaction can be called as pseudo first order reaction. And only those reactions are pseudo first order reactions in which one of the reactant is a solvent or one of the reactant is present in excess quantity. So the reaction which appears to be of higher order but actually follow first order kinetics is called pseudo first order reaction. Now what are the examples of such reaction? The first example is hydrolysis of sucrose. Now sucrose is and when it is hydrolyzed, okay, in the presence of acid is acting as a catalyst here. It will change to glucose and fructose. So it will give you one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. The second is hydrolysis of ester. Okay, so this is ester, this is hydrolyzed. Okay, this is ethyl acetate. Now when it is hydrolyzed, it will give you acid plus alcohol. Okay, one molecule of acid plus one molecule of alcohol is formed. So you can see that in these two reactions, one of the reactant is water. So from the reaction it appears that the order can be 2, 1 plus 1. But actually these reactions will follow first order kinetics. The rate of reaction will depend only on the concentration of this or this. The rate of reaction will not depend on the concentration of water because the concentration of water is always constant. So this was the concept of pseudo-chemical reactions or pseudo first order reactions. Now let's move on to the next part of the chapter, that is the mechanism of the reaction. In the first part of the chapter, we discussed rate of reaction. What is the meaning of rate? How to find out rate of reaction? What is rate law, rate constant, and all these things. And now we are moving to the next part, that is mechanism of the reaction. How a reaction occurs. How reactants change into products. The detailed description of all the events which take place during the reaction is known as mechanism. Now there are two theories regarding the mechanism. The first one we are going to discuss, and that is collision theory. This is a classical theory. Okay. Now according to this theory, the reactant molecules are considered to be hard spheres. Okay, the molecules which take part in the reaction, whether they are atoms, whether they are molecules, whether they are ions, they are hard spheres. And the reaction occurs only when the molecules collide with each other. Okay, collisions are there. The number of collisions taking place per second per unit volume of reaction mixture is called the collision frequency, that is Z. Okay, so molecules keep on colliding with each other, and the number of collisions taking place is Z, that is collision frequency. And the value of this collision frequency is very high. It means that the molecules are in continuous state of collision with each other. The molecules are continuously colliding with each other. But one thing we must understand, that if collision is the only requirement for the reaction to occur and all the molecules are colliding, then the reaction should complete within seconds. It means we can say that all the reactions must be fast only. But we have observed that many reactions are slow also. Okay, it means all the collisions do not result into product formation. The molecules are colliding, but they will not give the product. So there is one word which will come here, and that is effective collision. What is effective collision? Effective collision means the collision which actually form the product. Okay, suppose there are two atoms. Now they are colliding with each other. Okay, this is the collision. But after collision, there is no product formation. Okay, they will collide with each other and again they will separate. But suppose the two atoms, they collide with each other and they result into a new product, that is C. Okay, so it depends whether the collision will result into product formation or whether it will not. The collision which result into product formation, okay, which actually result into product formation is known as effective collision. So the basic of this collision theory is effective collision. So all the collisions do not result into product formation. The collisions which actually result into product formation are known as effective collisions. Okay, so what is the basic requirement for a reaction to occur? Effective collision. Okay, how many effective collisions are there? Now there are two barriers. There are two barriers to a reaction. First is energy barrier and second is orientation barrier. Okay, so now we have to discuss these two barriers one by one. Means for a reaction to occur, the reactant molecules must cross the energy barrier as well as the orientation barrier. Okay, so first is energy barrier. The reactant molecules must possess certain minimum amount of energy called threshold energy. Okay, the reactant molecules must possess certain minimum amount of energy which is called as threshold energy. And if the reactant molecules are not having threshold energy, they will not change into product. So for a reaction to occur, they must require certain minimum energy, and that is a must. If they are having energy more than this, definitely they will form the product. But if the energy is less than this, then they will not result into product formation. So this is the first criteria for a reaction to occur, that they must have this sufficient amount of energy. So only those molecules will form product which have energy greater than threshold energy. Now second is the orientation barrier. Orientation barrier means the reactant molecules must have proper orientation at the time of reaction. Okay, the orientation must be proper. Now, what is the meaning of proper orientation? So, we are taking one example here. Suppose this is the reaction. Okay, NO2 plus NO2, they are combining to form N2O4. Okay, so okay, now at the time of collision, suppose nitrogen is facing nitrogen, then the reaction will occur and the product will form. But suppose, okay, so this is the product formation. But suppose if the orientation is like this, okay, now just facing nitrogen, oxygen is there, so the reaction will not occur because orientation is not proper. The molecules will collide, but their collision will not be called as effective collision. So if the molecules have sufficient energy, but if the orientation is not proper, then also the reaction will not occur. If the orientation is proper, but energy is not sufficient, then also the reaction will not result into product formation. Okay, it means that suppose if I have 1000 molecules in a container, how many molecules will be satisfying these two criteria? Very few. Okay, only few molecules will be there which are having threshold energy and their orientations are proper during the collision. So very few molecules are there which will satisfy or which will cross both the barriers. It means the rate of the reaction is quite less as compared to what we think. So this is all about the collision theory. Now to sum up, the main points of collision theory are: for a reaction to occur, there must be collisions between the reacting species. The only certain fraction of collisions is effective. Okay. For effective collisions, the molecules should have proper energy and orientation. And according to collision theory, rate is equal to minus dx upon dt, that is change in concentration upon change in time, and it is equal to F into Z. Now what is Z? It is the collision frequency, that is number of collisions per second per unit volume, and F is the fraction of effective collision. So this was all about the first theory, that is collision theory. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is dependence of reaction rate on temperature. We all know rate of reaction is directly proportional to temperature. You increase the temperature, the rate of reaction will increase. You decrease the temperature, the rate of reaction will decrease. And we see also, for example, it will take time, okay, for the sugar to get dissolved in cold water. But if suppose the water is hot, the sugar will dissolve immediately. Now it is a general observation that with every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, the rate of the reaction or rate constant is doubled, because rate constant depends on temperature. Okay, so if you increase the temperature, the rate constant will also increase. Okay, so it is a general observation that with every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, the rate or the rate constant is doubled. So we calculate temperature coefficient. And what is temperature coefficient? It is the ratio of rate constant at T plus 10 degrees Celsius and the rate constant at T degree Celsius. Now, why the rate of reaction increases with temperature? What is the basic concept behind this, we are going to understand this thing. Now, explanation for increase in the rate of reaction with rise in temperature. Now, as temperature increases, there is increase in the collision frequency. Now, when we increase the temperature, what will happen? The kinetic energy of molecules will increase. Okay, we can say that kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. So, if you increase the temperature, the kinetic energy of molecules will increase. They will collide more and more, and the collision frequency will also increase. Okay, and the number of effective collisions also increase. So, when temperature increases, okay, kinetic energy of molecules increase, okay, number of collisions increase, and with increase in temperature, the molecules which were not having sufficient energy, now they have sufficient energy, because we are increasing the temperature and energy is directly proportional to temperature. Suppose only few molecules were having threshold energy. Now with rise in temperature, many such molecules will have energy equal to or more than threshold energy. So we can say that the effective collisions will increase or the rate of reaction increases. So this is how temperature increases the rate of reaction. And this dependence of rate of reaction on temperature was explained by Maxwell and Boltzmann. Okay, and they plotted a graph and they explained that why on increasing the temperature the rate of reaction increases, or why with 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature the rate of reaction is doubled. So now we'll discuss Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution curve or Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution of energy. This curve or this graph will explain the dependence of reaction or rate constant on temperature, that how with increase in temperature the rate or the rate constant increase. In this, a graph is plotted between the energy of the molecules. Okay, so the first variable is energy of the molecules, that is kinetic energy, and the fraction of molecules. So on one side we write kinetic energy and on another side we write fraction of molecules. The fraction of molecules is represented by Ne upon Nt. What is Ne? The number of molecules having energy E, and what is Nt? Total number of molecules. Suppose in a container there are 1000 molecules and these molecules are continuously colliding with each other. Now when the molecules collide with each other, they transfer energy. We have learnt in physics, okay, the collisions are elastic, okay, the energy is conserved but it will be transferred from one to another. So when the molecules collide with each other, there is distribution of energy. Suppose one molecule is having E1 energy before collision, but after collision this energy will change. Either it will transfer its energy to another or it will gain some energy from the another. So when the molecules collide with each other, there is distribution of energy. That's why this is known as distribution curve. So all the molecules are not having same energy. Okay, so what he did? He studied the behavior of molecules. Okay, which molecules are having which energy, and he plotted a graph. So now we have to discuss this graph. Now this is the distribution curve. You can see here fraction of molecules and here energy. Okay, now the graph is like this. Okay, now this is the threshold energy. For a reaction to occur or for effective collision, the molecule must have this much energy. And this energy is not low, it is on higher side only. Because from year to year the energy is increasing. So this value is on higher side. Now what we conclude from the graph? First conclusion. The number of molecules, or you can say the fraction of molecules having energy very less or very high is little. Okay, now just see the graph. Suppose this is 10, this is 20, this is 30, like this. Now 10 molecules are having E1 energy. You can see the graph is increasing graph. Now 20 molecules are having E2 energy. So as the value of energy is increasing, the fraction of molecules is also increasing. Okay, now 30 molecules are having E3 energy like this. Okay, so the number of molecules having less energy is also less. Now the graph is increasing graph. Okay, now this is the intermediate energy. Suppose this is E5 or E6. The maximum molecules have this intermediate energy. Okay, now this intermediate energy is of no use because it will not result into product formation. But maximum molecules have this intermediate energy, and this is known as most probable kinetic energy. Now afterwards the graph is decreasing graph. Now see this side. This is higher energy. Okay, now see the number. The number of molecules having higher energy is also very less. So suppose in a container if you have 1000 molecules, the number of molecules having very less energy and the number of molecules having very high energy is very less. Maximum molecules have intermediate energy, which is called as most probable kinetic energy. Okay, so maximum molecules have intermediate energy, which is called most probable kinetic energy. Okay, and this value is in between. Now we can compare this graph to classroom distribution of marks. Suppose in a class 100 students are there. How many students will be having very less marks? Very less students. Okay, suppose out of 110 students are getting failing marks, or 10 students are getting very less marks. How many students get more than 90% marks? Very less. Most of the students in the class get only average marks. So this distribution of energy is similar to the classroom distribution of marks. Okay, the number of molecules having less energy is also less, and the number of molecules having high energy is also less. Maximum molecules have intermediate energy, which is called as most probable kinetic energy. But for the reaction to occur, to product formation, they require this E energy. And you can see this fraction. Okay, now this much fraction of molecules are capable of forming the product, and this fraction is very small. Okay, the fraction of molecules having effective collision, and you can see this fraction is very small. So out of 1000 molecules, only very less number of molecules will result into product formation. So this was the distribution curve. Now let's see the effect of 10-degree rise in temperature. That why the rate of reaction is doubled on increasing the temperature by 10 degrees Celsius. So again, fraction of molecules and energy. Now this is the original graph, T1. T1 graph is original graph, that is at T1 degree Celsius. T1 means lower temperature, and T2 is this T1 plus 10 degrees Celsius. Now what differences you can observe? First, the graph is the most probable kinetic energy is decreased. Now this is the peak of the graph, and here the peak is like this. Okay, the peak of the graph decreases like this. Okay, now the graph is shifted to the higher side. Okay, you can see now if we increase the temperature, what will happen? The energy of the molecules will increase. Earlier 10 molecules were having E1 energy. Now those 10 molecules will have E2 energy. Okay, so if you increase the temperature, the overall energy of the molecules increase. So the graph shifts to higher side. But the most important thing is this thing. Earlier A, B, C, D, these molecules were capable of effective collisions. Okay, but now A, B, E, F, now these molecules are capable of effective collisions. And A, B, E, F is approximately double of A, B, C, D. Okay, so on increasing the temperature by 10 degrees Celsius, the fraction of molecules showing effective collisions is doubled, or the rate of reaction is doubled. Okay, this is practically done. Okay, this is graphically proven that if you increase the temperature by 10 degrees Celsius, the fraction of molecules showing effective collision is doubled. That's why the rate of reaction is doubled. So at higher temperature, the curve is shifted to right side, means the molecules now have higher energy. Also, the fraction of molecules showing effective collision is doubled. That's why the rate of reaction is doubled.